Hi, super second graders. It is week 6, and just like always, I am going to go through your work packet with you. I am going to hold up the page that we are talking about. So if you are watching this right now while you're doing your work, you can hear the directions, pause it, do the work on the page, and then keep playing. Or if you've just come here to answer some questions, you can fast forward to the page that you need to get a little bit of help on. So we are in week 6. This is from April the 27th through May 1st. Friday this week is going to be the beginning of May. Our first page always has some expectations and our place value chart and hundreds chart to help us with our work. The first page of our packet is called Adding Whole Tens 2 Digits. So just with a quick look over here, I can see that every single number ends in 0. There are 0 units on this page at all. We are only adding tens this week. Now, when you add tens, when you get a group of 10 tens, you have to exchange them for, hopefully you said 100. So let's, as we go through here and we think about how many tens we have, we'll bundle some of those to create 100. So let's just look at this very first problem together. Now I know because we just went over that there are 0 units. And if there are 0 units in any of my numbers, then I'm not going to have any units in my answer. So I can just go ahead and write 0 units. Okay? And now my light's a little bit funky this time. So that was 0 units plus 0 units. Boom, boom. 0 units in my answer. Now, the next part I'm looking at when I'm adding is going to be my tens. And I can see that in my first number, I have 8 tens. And in my next number, I have 8 tens. So 8 plus 8 will give me a total of 16 tens. Now, I know when I have 16 tens, okay, 16 tens, this is really a bundle of 10 tens and a bundle of 6 tens. So this 10 tens is going to turn into 100, and I'm going to have 6 tens in my answer. Okay, that 10 tens turns into a 100. Okay, so I took from my tens still and exchanged it for a 100. So my answer, 8 tens plus 8 more tens, gives me 16 tens, or 160. Never any units in there. Let's do that one more time in a little bit of a different way. So this time I see, I'm just going to come right over here and do number 2. Okay. So this was my representation of my tens. I wrote it in blue. Okay. 16 tens, not just the number 16. But over here on this side, I am going to make a stamp game for my numbers, and I'm going to do it right over here on the side. So my first number is 80, which is 8 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tens. Okay, do you see that? That's my number 80. 8 tens, 0 units. I have no units there. I don't have any hundreds yet either because there's only 8 of these guys. Okay, then I'm going to take my second number, 60, and I'm going to put it right here below that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tens, right? 6 tens is 60, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Yep. Now, when I add them all together, I'm going to say, well, I know this is 6, right? I would have pushed them up together. I'm pulling down. This is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This whole group together is 10 tens, and 10 tens is going to get traded out for 100. Whoops, gotta get my red marker, right? These guys, this group of 10, oh geez, this group of 10 becomes a 100 stamp, okay? I'm exchanging. But look up here, I still have some 10s left. I've still got 4 10s. So my number, I've got 100 stamp, I've got 4 10s left, okay? And I have still, just like always, every number we said, 0 units, because I had 0 units to start with. I'm not going to get any more units. Okay, so 80 plus 60 equals 140. Now, if you thought about that, 8 plus 6 is 14. We're moving everything into the tens place. So whether you do it this way, where you add and exchange because you know 16 has a 10 and a 6, or you do it this way where you draw out your stamps and you make a group of 10 and exchange, either way, you are going to end up, for most of these, exchanging for one or more hundreds. But remember, there's not, looking at all these numbers, I can look at them real quick, there are no units in any of those. So that's 2 strategies for solving the adding whole tens paper. At the very bottom, it says choose 5 problems from above and model using a place value chart. Now your place value chart is very similar to your stamp games. Okay, this is a place value chart here. If we mark the place values, okay, this is the hundreds, these are the tens, and these are my units, or you can say ones. Okay, it's up to you, units or ones. Okay, a lot of times we say ones. So this is how you're doing with your place value chart. It asks you just pick any 5 of these that you like and draw them out using the place value chart, where you draw your tens, you exchange if you have to. Okay, that whole paper is finished that same way. The next page is single digit subtraction. Find the difference. Whenever we say difference, that we know we are going to be subtracting. So it's single digit subtraction. You have a bunch of strategies you can use for this. 4 take away 2. Maybe you just know that 4 take away 2 is 2. Maybe you think in your mind 2 plus 2 is 4. So 4 take away one of those 2's has to be 2. Maybe you are going to count backwards. 4 take away 2. 4, 3, 2. 2. Okay, maybe you count backwards. Maybe you count out. You start with a smaller number. 2, 3, 4. 2. Maybe you draw a number line. Maybe you use objects and cross them out. Your strategy, it's up to you. It doesn't matter. You're just doing, it has a bunch of them because that's probably a pretty quick work for you. Okay, do all 20 problems. The understanding check at the bottom says choose 3 problems from above and write a story problem for each. You can use a separate paper if you need to, or possibly write somewhere else on this page. But it says to write a story problem for each. Again, going back to our first problem, if you pick this, it would be something like Miss Camille has 4 kittens and she gave 2 kittens to her grandma. How many kittens does Miss Camille have left? Okay, so you are going to write a story problem for 3 of those. The next page is your ELA. Read the passage and answer questions. The title here is Step-by-Step Instructions. That makes me think right away, if it's instructions, it might be step-by-step, maybe a how-to writing, okay? Or talking about how-to writings. So we've done that. We're familiar. You guys all practice those at our writing desk in our classroom. So let's see what this passage has to say about doing step-by-step instructions. You can pause right now, read to yourself, and then come on and listen along, follow along with me, or you can follow along with me first and then pause and read to yourself. Tracking fingers ready, I'm going to start with the title. Step-by-step instructions. Many schools have science fairs. Students show their science projects. These projects show the results of experiments. Every project must include certain things. One requirement is to explain how to do the experiment step by step. The instructions should be easy to understand. Anyone should be able to read the instructions and recreate the experiment with the same materials. They should be able to do the exact same steps. When you write the instructions, list all the things that you used in the experiment. It may seem silly, but you should write down everything. You should even write down the pencil and paper that you used to take notes. Next, be very clear about what the steps are. Give as much detail as possible. Label each step with numbers to show the order of the steps. Use words like first, next, then, and finally. Draw little pictures to show your steps. Make sure to show the special features or details of any objects. Read over what you have written. Make sure the instructions make sense. Ask a friend to read your instructions. See if they understand what to do. When your instructions are clear, type or write them neatly for your display at the fair. So that is really interesting. I heard a lot of good tips in there that are just like what we did in class. When we made that peanut butter and jelly sandwich, we needed to mention, we needed to be very clear. We needed to mention all of our tools. We had to say everything in the right order and make sure that we included everything so that someone could understand our how-to steps. So this is wonderful information that you guys are really familiar with, but they tell you it in the context of doing a science experiment, which you guys also do a ton. So it's kind of interesting to me that they've taken both of those things that we do all the time and really related how do they go together. So remember, when we answer the questions, we are going to go back to our passage and make sure that we find the evidence in the passage. So we've activated our knowledge. We're thinking about how can we relate to what this passage was talking about. But now that we're going to answer these questions, we're going to make sure we're pulling our answers from our reading. So the first question says, what kind of project needs step-by-step instructions? So what kind of project were we talking about in the passage? Not think of a bunch, like whatever kind of project you can think of. It's what kind of project we're talking about in our passage. Number two, why do you have to write down all of the materials you used for your experiment? Why do you think that you have to write down all of the materials? Well, I'm going back here to this second paragraph here, and I'm rereading that anyone should be able to read the instructions and recreate the experiment with the same materials. If you didn't list everything that you used, would your friend be able to do the exact same thing? Number three, how should you organize your instructions? This is very, very important, and a good organizational strategy from the passage is listed here. I remember reading right here in paragraph 4 about a good organizational strategy. So go back and look what they said about how to organize the directions. Number 4, what can you do to help the reader understand your instructions? Now, it actually was a couple of things that the passage told us to do that will help our readers, our friend who we have checking it, or anybody who wants to do our science experiment, that will help them to really understand our instructions. So go back and listen to Miss Camille reading it, or reread the passage to yourself, and really think about how are you going to be helping your reader to understand what to do. Number 5, why is it important to use lots of details in your instructions? So again, thinking about what did they say in the passage? Why would that be important to use a lot of details when I'm writing my instructions? And you can think about what happened in the classroom when we did not give details for our instructions. What happened? So use that knowledge as well as what they said in the passage and think, why is it important to use a lot of details? Okay, so that is question number 5. We did go to the next page. As always, there are your learning outcomes and your self-assessment. How did you do on the assignment? Do you feel like that was great? I went back. I really did my best. I looked for evidence. It was okay. I did all right. Or, oh gosh, I probably can do better next time. Okay, self-assessment. At the bottom of this next page is your fine arts assignment, and this one is a continuation from last week. It says directions week 2, build a model playground. Continue using a variety of objects found around your home to create your model playground. And so I believe it says, do you have at least 3 pieces of playground equipment? So if you don't have at least 3, you need to get at least 3. But if you already have 3, then you can add some more details. Try to think up a new element for your playground. I heard some great descriptions last week for your week 5 quiz that you guys did on Schoology. I heard some really wonderful descriptions with some really great shape words, so you can continue with that. And if you did not show or tell me about those creations, I would love to see them. At the very bottom of that same page, so coming all the way down here to the bottom, is the music assignment. And your music assignment this week says to read the paragraph and answer the questions in the chart. So I'm going to turn the page here. I'm going to show you the paragraph and the chart that we are talking about. And it says, music is a powerful thing. It can tell a story, bring new meaning to something, and make us feel so many different ways. Have you ever been sad and heard a song that cheered you up? Or maybe you were happy and a song reminded you of something sad. People use music to express themselves all the time. For the following activity, look at the feeling of the emoji and write a song that makes you feel that way. So these are your songs, your creations with your words and melody and rhythm. And you are going to do one that is happy, one that is sad, and one that is sleepy. Oh, that's kind of a challenge, like a lullaby maybe. If you find that you love doing this, you could even think up your own emotion, confused or excited or maybe frustrated or surprised, and write a new song that made you reflected one of those feelings. So have a lot of fun with those assignments, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of your wonderful faces if you can make it onto the chat. And miss you guys. Have a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye.